All they're asking us to do is wash your hands. If you are in the public, keep your distance. I think any little extra help, like wearing a mask, wearing gloves, is just going to help you stop spreading that disease to anybody else. Nobody's invincible. Nobody. We're all vulnerable.
Today I'm talking with Juliette, who is originally from the UK, but she's living in California right now and is in sheltered in place. And she also has a nursing background. Juliette, thank you for being with me today.
Hello.
How are you coping with shelter in place?
We're actually coping quite well. We're fortunate to be in a good neighbourhood that's away from the main town. We're in a house that's got a garden, so we can go out. We've got a dog that we can walk around the block, and everyone in the area is keeping their distance, like across the road or more than 6 feet away. So we're actually okay.
Originally, you're from the UK and you have family and friends over there. How are
Yeah.
they doing?
Most are doing okay. I think a few of my sisters have got children and grandchildren, and they used to look after them all the time, and they're not seeing them at all. Um, they hearing the news from things around the world is something where they're saying, "Oh, it sounds really bad in California," and of course, I'm looking at the news thinking, "Oh my gosh, it's so bad in the UK." So, I think everybody's feeling um, a bit kind of afraid and alone, and we're waiting for someone basically to come and rescue us.
Are you contacting them a lot through social media?
Absolutely. I mean, I think that's very much a lifesaver just now. Before all this happened, it would be like maybe a quick phone call. Hi, how you doing? How's work? How's the kids? But now it's actual like maybe an hour and a half to 2 hours conversations and reassuring everybody. It is very much a lifesaver for especially the other side of the world, you know. Um, Friends just down the road as well. You know, you go on to one of the social media apps and you're having a conversation like they're sitting right in front of you, and then you go in and you're talking to someone in the UK and you're like, oh my gosh, you could be just across the road, but of course they're not. It's across the pond.
Do you get a chance to travel back and visit them a lot? But I mean, before the pandemic?
Oh, before the pandemic, yeah, we always make an effort to go at least once a year. And then people from the UK, family and friends, usually come out to us as well. Because, of course, like many people, the UK are used to going to like European countries. So with us being in America, they're like, oh my gosh, we've got to come and see you in America, you know, and do all
Mm-hmm.
the kind of things that we're still doing just now, seeing all the sites. So yeah, we do. We're always in contact and we try to see people as often as we can.
Has the travel restrictions affected you in any way?
Not so much me, more so my husband. I mean, for travel, for us as a couple, not seeing people, not seeing the sights, we've got like a go and see list for so many places in America. But for my husband, for work, absolutely. He usually travels to like India and Japan and places like that for work. So he's doing the hours where he would work the hours as if he was there. So if he was like somewhere and it would be 3 o'clock in the morning, he's obviously speaking to them at 3 o'clock in the morning this time. So he's doing all right. At least working from home, he's more in control of it as well.
How's your experience with being a nurse helped you understand the COVID-19 virus?
I think just with the background that I've had and the experiences from what I had in the UK, because we had a few times in hospitals, we had a few other viruses where you have to be isolated or where the nurses have to wear masks and aprons and gloves, and every single person that you saw every time you moved away, you had to change those masks, gowns and gloves each time so that you weren't spreading any viruses or diseases or any kind of contagion at all. So One of the worst ones, and it still happens today, is the MRSA. And of course, with that, you could be touching someone, or they could have touched something, you then touch it. So it's very similar in the way where we're trying to keep the social distancing here. But obviously, it's like 100 times worse in a hospital environment because you can't really go anywhere. So everybody's constantly cleaning, everybody's constantly aware of the hand hygiene and wearing whatever protection you possibly can and protecting the patients that you're looking after as well.
Staying on the personal protective gear, um, would that be some advice you would give to people in your community that in shelter in place, like if they have to go out to the store, would you suggest that they wear gloves and a mask?
See, I would. I've had a few people saying to me, oh, I've heard it doesn't make a difference. But I would use the example if I was standing in line and there was people a few feet either behind or in front or beside me, or even walking up to the checkout if the girl there hasn't got a mask or gloves on. I would feel better knowing I have. So I'm not touching anything with my hands because I'm wearing gloves, because I can throw the gloves off as soon as I step in the car. I can put them in the garbage can. And it's the same with the mask. You know, you don't know if the person behind you is a carrier or is going to cough. And even if they didn't have the virus and they did cough, you're going to be thinking in your head, oh my God, did I just breathe that in? But then, of course, the next stage is, are you wearing the right type of mask? Is it covering your nose and your mouth? Is it, you know, is it enough to keep that virus from actually getting into your lungs? So, I mean, I think every little bit is going to help. No matter what, I think every little bit is going to help.
What type of training do nurses receive to help them prepare for something like this?
Well, I was speaking to a few of my nursing friends from the UK, and they were saying as well, you just don't ever get prepared for something like this, as vast as this. And even although you can deal with life and death every single day, you just don't realize how strong a person you have to be to walk away from someone who has just died of the virus, knowing that you're going maybe to another bed that the next person's going to die, or will they, or what can I do to help them survive? So the preparation, as in what you're taught as a student nurse and what you receive through experience and years, is very much the hand hygiene, um, be firm to people as well, which is a hard thing for people to do. You know, when you're a nurse, you feel as if people listen to you more because you're saying, if you don't do this, you could die, you know, and it sounds very kind of blunt and scary. But if you were to say it out in the street or in a store, people can get a bit more unfriendly with it. So I think if they were in the place of the people that have to say those words to them, then obviously it's people that don't really understand just how bad this really is.
Your friends that are nurses over in the UK, are they doing? Do they have more hours? Like,
Yeah, there. I think most of them. One of my friends in particular, who I went to university with, she's a young mum with two young children, and she was actually just saying, you know, that she felt sorry for her husband who's home with the kids, and she's literally living at the hospital. And yes, they do more hours, and I think once they've just kind of had that the sleep that they need to get back up and do it again, that's exactly what they're doing. And they're using the media, social media, sorry, to speak with their children. Because of course they can't go and see them because they've been in contact with so many people at the hospital and they don't want to risk their families. So they're very kind of isolated, but in the other stronger sense, they're surrounded by other people that are trying to do the exact same thing as they're doing and save lives.
do you have any advice for anybody concerned about their health while they're in shelter in place?
Yeah, I think the shelter in place when you go out, especially after you've just did, like most of us have done, stayed away from everyone for at least a couple of weeks. If you were to go out, remember that that person in front, behind, or beside you, if they were to cough or sneeze, how far it does spread. So if you can go 4 to 6 feet away, great. But if you can stay further away, it's even better. So if you watch one of the videos online and you see this cloud coming out someone's mouth, and you see it spreading all around about you, quite a few feet as well. And of course, even as you're walking away from that person, that's still moving as well. Or if you're the person behind them and they've sneezed to the person in front, you're stepping into it. So it is really taking all those extra precautions. When you see the video, you just think, oh my gosh, if this is just a normal cold, and you'd be like, oh, that's horrible. Picture it being the coronavirus.
For some of the people that have been in shelter in place, boredom kind of sets in. Do you have any advice for those people?
Oh my goodness, they need to get into the social media. There are so many millions of people putting things on just now for, like, there's teachers with children, there's people who are learning to exercise to occupy children's minds to make it fun. There are people suggesting about all these websites that are doing like free lessons, free books, free everything, and like, learn how to cook. Oh my gosh, I've never cooked as well as I'm cooking just now. Do you know, there's so many things, and all the things about the house. If you have got like husbands and children that don't realize just how much you do as a housewife, kind of show them, say, hey, look, this is a vacuum, I'm going to show you how to use this today, and just turn everything into fun and just do it all together, because we all have to be there for each other. And I think if you're a music person, listen to music that you've not listened to for ages. If nobody else is there, that saying what people say, dance like nobody's watching. Nobody's watching, so do it. Do your Zumba classes at home. Whatever you feel like doing, just do it.
Thank you so much for talking with me today.
You're very welcome. It was a pleasure, and I'm sure we will speak again soon.
Yeah, I hope so.
I hope so too, and I wish the best of luck to everybody out there. Just use common sense and be safe.